Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Cloth Map Q&A session. I'm trying something a little different this time. I'm using the voiceover microphone instead of the lavalier microphones for this because some people listen to this as a podcast, and I want them to have good, high-quality audio. Also, I'm hoping that it does a little better job of isolating the various street noises and people walking around upstairs that tend to bleed onto the microphones, especially, it seems, when I'm recording voiceover or podcasts. The street right by my house decides to feed a bunch of large trucks onto it whenever I'm recording. So hopefully that doesn't happen too often during this video. I guess first, some housekeeping. Thank you to everyone who has watched and commented on the most recent Mongolia video. And thank you also for your patience between. I know it was a long time between videos, but we had some kind of jumbling of freelancers in the background, but we're at a pretty good place now. It's just that any hit we take to the pipeline is very impactful because, it's such a small team. But I think we're in a really good place now, and the next video should not be take nearly as long. I think, though, I always love to emphasize that I am committed to quality videos here because you, the patrons, are paying for this. You are supporting this with your money, and you deserve high quality videos. I want it to be worth it for you to do. I don't want to just fart out a video and say here's just a cut down version of an interview that we did, and then there's a way to just there's a version of this that's just very cut and dry. These things are going to exist on the internet forever, so I want them to be good, and that takes time. So I appreciate your patience, and again, it should not take nearly as long for the next one to come out. So be on the lookout for that. I think that's it. Now into the questions. The first one comes from Josh Stevens. He says, "Did you get to eat any Mongolian barbecue? I've never had it here in the States and wonder how it compares." So if you've never had this, and I'm not sure if this is just a US thing or if this exists all around the world, but Mongolian barbecue restaurants typically they're like buffets that you get a bowl and you go around and pick what meat you want, what noodles you want, sauce, vegetables, that kind of stuff. And then you hand it to a cook who throws it onto this gigantic round stove, typically, cooks it up and hands it back to you, and then that's what you eat. It's really delicious. I didn't see anything like that in Mongolia, and I don't know if it's because they've exported Mongolian cuisine and kind of turned it into this, or if there are places like that in Mongolia. We didn't really go out to eat very often because we were often waking up really early in the morning, and didn't want to be out late. And also, coming back from a day of shooting, you're just absolutely exhausted, and our hotel had food, and it was pretty good. So we honestly just went there all the time, which sounds really lame. But don't get me wrong, we did connect very closely with the cuisine of Mongolia on a number of occasions. We saw, you have seen in the horse racing video, us try the hushur, I think is how you say it, which is like this, it's not a patty, it's like a pocket, it's like a pita almost, that is stuffed with meat. A lot of cuisines have this or some kind of equivalent. And that was super good. There's a lot of food stuff in the upcoming, the third Mongolia video, which involves a lot of lamb, let's say, but nothing that looks like Mongolian barbecue. We didn't really go out very much in the capital city, and I kind of wish we did, just to see more about it. But it was, I think it was a matter of logistics and a matter of prioritization because we had a lot of meetings to do. I don't know honestly if Mongolian barbecue is a thing in Mongolia. But when we did have home-cooked meals, they were really, really good. Which kind of leads me into the next question from Please and Thanks, who asks, Mongolia looks like a cool place to visit after watching your videos. Any recommendations to someone thinking about visiting there? Must see and do things, etc. It was really cool. The countryside is beautiful. Ulaanbaatar has its own character, I would say. It is a very poor country. And I mention that just because there's not a lot spent, and I kind of touched on this a little bit in the second Mongolia video. There's not a lot of infrastructure there, and there's not a lot of English spoken and not a lot of people to help out tourism-wise. So I would recommend getting a guide or going with a tour group because of that reason. So having Hoso, our guide, she was indispensable. We could not have done a fraction of what we did without her. So we got really, really lucky hooking up with her. Getting outside the city is essential, I think. Ulaanbaatar is the largest city, and it's the one you will fly into. It doesn't have a lot going on. There is some stuff. There are museums. The Nadam Festival, or at least the culmination of the Nadam Festival, is there. So I would recommend, if you need something to kind of center your trip around, Nadam is really cool. But I think you'll kind of exhaust Ulaanbaatar pretty quickly, and so you want to get outside the city. And there, the logistical problems increase even more because, again, not very much English, not very much anything, honestly, between cities. It's like hundreds of miles between cities. And like the prospect of renting my own car and trying to figure out Mongolia, if like that's your goal, if you want to like take a motorcycle across Mongolia and you can repair a motorcycle and all that stuff, that sounds amazing. But if you want to just see Mongolia, I would say get go on a tour group or something, or some kind of travel agency, because they know what's going on when, so they'll know certain things to take you to. For example, there are all kinds of festivals. There's the Danam Festival. There's an eagle hunting festival, which sounds pretty cool. So I would definitely recommend that. But yeah, Mongolia, it's one of those places that you don't really think to consider it to go there, and it's very unique. It's not like, even though it sits between China and Russia, it doesn't feel like either of those cultures, and it honestly doesn't even feel like a blend between them. It feels very unique. It feels very Mongolian, and it's always cool when you can go to a place like that has a really distinct culture. So I recommend it, but I do recommend going with someone who knows what they're doing. And Cody Armature asks, Drew, I have a limited use time machine and can offer you 3 trips to any time and place in history. It's very gracious of you. Thank you, Cody. What 3 places/times would you like to visit to film a cloth map travel doc? Don't worry, your interactions with things and people in these eras will not alter history. Thank goodness. This is about to be my next question. Thank you, Cody. This is a great question. I think I have to go find whatever the first game was. Like, was a caveman sitting there, throwing rocks at a stick and then keeping track of how many hits he and his buddy had and best of 5 wins or whatever. I want to know what that is. I think the Olympics is a no-brainer. The original Olympics. That seems incredible. Maybe I could go back and also catch a chariot race or something. I don't know if I'd want to see gladiators. That seems, I think that would mess me up. I don't know if I could actually view that. But the Olympics, I think, would be really, really cool. There's so much about very, very long time ago, like the ancient world, that is almost magical to me. It's almost like I can't believe that the world existed like that. So to actually see the day-to-day stuff and like the minute things, like what's different and what's the same about people back then, like when they are competing in the Olympics, do they, like, if they throw the javelin, do they still do that kind of like weird windmilly hop thing at the end, just like modern javelin throwers do, or is it totally different? I think they're all naked, which would be fun at the Olympics. So yeah, all right, cavemen, the Olympics, and I think I would go to the future. I don't know if anyone out there has seen the seminal film Robot Jocks, but basically we no longer have wars in the distant future. Instead, all of our territorial disputes are settled by one-on-one mech battles. So giant fighting robots. I think the movie takes place in Alaska. Maybe it's Russia and the US fighting over Alaska. And two giant robots fight. So I want to see that. Or the equivalent. Maybe The Running Man, which I guess is also gladiatorial combat. So again, I don't know, that would probably be rough, but future sports. Maybe oh my God, what does Formula One look like? Do we actually get to Wipeout style car racing? Or is there some merger between Formula One and Formula E? That kind of stuff I think would be really cool. All right, I think that's it. Let me know if you guys want more of these. I like doing them, but I don't do them too often because I'm very cognizant of spamming people, and I don't want it to seem like I'm just constantly like, hey, send me your questions, here's another video, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to overload your inbox. But if people like these, maybe I could do them every month or something. Also, I feel like I'll exhaust, like, again, we got 3 questions here, and that's great. But if I was doing them so frequently, no one would have anything. So let me know if you, or if everything is just fine. More, less, the same, let me know. Yeah, hope everyone is doing well, and look forward to the 3rd video from Mongolia coming soon. Thanks.